Shedeur Sanders didn't just launch a Nike logo shirt. He detonated a cultural bomb that sent shockwaves through the entire sports, fashion, and entertainment universe. $70 million. Gone in 24 hours. Completely sold out. Websites crashed. Lines around city blocks. Inventory wiped out before the clock even hit noon. And all of this for a shirt. But not just any shirt. Not just another template tee with a swoosh slapped on the front. This was a moment, a movement, a masterclass in athlete branding.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
And it wasn't engineered by a marketing agency. It was sparked by authenticity, by charisma, by confidence, by a 21-year-old quarterback who isn't just playing the game, he's rewriting it. Let's not sugarcoat it. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not this fast. Not this loud. Not this massive. But it did. And now the entire sportswear industry is scrambling like they just realized they're still running Windows 95. Because while Adidas and Under Armour were tweaking font sizes on their spring lookbook, Shedeur Sanders and Nike were lighting the match on a brand identity earthquake. And here's the wildest part. It's not because Shedeur just threw for 500 yards. It's not because of a viral one-handed Hail Mary or a Heisman announcement. Nope. It's because people believe in him. They believe in his energy, his vision, his story. They don't see Shedeur as a product. They see him as a personality, a movement, a mindset. And when he put that shirt out, the world didn't buy cotton. It bought culture. You want to know how powerful that is? Nike's servers didn't just go down, they flatlined. Online traffic surged past Jordan drop levels. Forget bots. People were skipping work, pausing meetings, abandoning carts like their life depended on it just to click add a bag before the site died again. And in retail stores, forget trying to walk in and browse. There were line managers, crowd control, purchase limits. People were getting in fistfights over sizes. We're talking Black Friday meets Super Bowl energy for a single shirt with a stylized S on it. And that stylized S, it doesn't just stand for Shedeur. It stands for seismic shift. Because make no mistake, this wasn't just a cash grab. It was a cultural reset. Let's talk numbers. 70 million in one day. That's more than most rookies earn in their first 3 contracts. That's more than Nike itself rejected in their quarterly estimates. You could buy an NBA team's entire bench with that kind of money. And the projections? Nike insiders are already whispering about this becoming a billion-dollar line within 3 years. Yes, billion with AB. Let that sink in. A college-born brand line. By a quarterback who still hasn't been handed the official QB1 spot in the NFL. Outselling legacy athletes. Outperforming entire brand divisions. This isn't a marketing story. This is a cultural reckoning. Because suddenly, every exec in every boardroom is panicking. They're asking the hard questions. How did Shedeur do this without decades in the league? Without a ring? Without a Super Bowl run? And the answer is both simple and deeply uncomfortable for the old guard. He didn't sell a product. He sold himself. Let's be clear, this is not just about fame. Fame is fleeting. What Shedeur Sanders has tapped into is something deeper. It's trust. People trust him because he shows up as himself. Always. On the field, off the field, on Instagram, in interviews. There's no switch-up, no performative mask. He's flashy, but never fake. He's confident, but not calculated. And in a world drowning in filtered authenticity, Shedeur feels real. And real? That sells more than sneakers ever could. And Nike knew this. That's why they didn't just slap his name on a billboard and call it a day. They built around him. Strategically, slowly, quietly. The investment started in college. The seed was planted when most brands were still hesitating. Nike saw the social reach, the brand consistency, the magnetic presence. They saw the vision before the vision was trending. And when they greenlit that shirt, they weren't betting on a moment. They were betting on a movement. Let's talk fallout. Because this isn't just a feel-good retail success story. This is going to reshape the entire endorsement industry. Athlete evaluations? Never the same again. No longer will performance be the sole currency. Now it's presence, digital engagement, cultural capital, storytelling. Recruiters and marketing execs everywhere are adjusting their spreadsheets. They're adding new columns. TikTok reach, Instagram loyalty metrics, quote-to-comment ratio, authenticity index. Shedeur has turned personality into leverage. He's turned cultural fluency into capital. And now every brand is playing catch-up. Meanwhile, Nike? Sitting pretty, because they made the bet early. And now they're leading the charge into a whole new era. And let's not gloss over the global impact. This wasn't a US-only phenomenon. This shirt was moving units in Tokyo, Paris, Lagos, Melbourne. The Shedeur Sanders brand is international because what he represents: authentic confidence, cultural crossover, youth-driven excellence, is borderless. You got fashion influencers wearing his shirt with designer boots in Milan, musicians referencing him in lyrics, athletes in other sports lining up to get a repost. This isn't athlete influence. This is global icon status. And all from one drop. So what comes next? More merch? Obviously. A signature line? Already in the works. But more importantly, more disruption. Because now that Shedeur has opened the door, others are following. Athletes are taking back narrative control. They're skipping agents, bypassing press filters, building direct relationships with fans. They're monetizing moments in real time. And they're realizing that performance alone isn't the product anymore. They are. So here we are, $70 million in a day, a shirt that launched a revolution, and a quarterback who hasn't even started a full NFL season, but is already shaping the future of sports, fashion, and digital culture. It's not a fluke. It's not hype. It's a blueprint. Shedeur Sanders didn't just break records. He just rewrote the playbook. And the league better catch up. Because this kid, he's not waiting. He's already gone global. We're witnessing a new gravitational force forming right in the middle of the sports universe. And its name is Shedeur Sanders. Let's talk about what happens after the $70 million shirt explosion. Because make no mistake, that was just the opening salvo. The statement. The flare in the sky that signaled to every major brand, every sports league, every CEO with a marketing budget. There's a new sheriff in town. Not because he demanded the spotlight, but because he became it. And now, the ripple effect is hitting every corner of the industry. Let's start where the quake was felt hardest, the athlete economy. Before this, brands treated college athletes, even the hype ones, like future assets. Let's wait and see, they'd say. Let's monitor performance. Let's assess risk. Now, Shedeur's merch drop just obliterated that timeline. You think brands are waiting now? No, they're launching. They're scouting personalities, not just stats. They're investing in vibes, not verticals. And suddenly, if you're a 19-year-old athlete with charisma, style, and a tight digital presence, you're not just a prospect. You're a portfolio. College locker rooms? They've turned into mini brand agencies overnight. Nil conversations are no longer about a few grand here and there. They're about equity, ownership, long-term positioning. And who started that? You already know. The kid with the $70 million t-shirt. But let's zoom out even more. Because while athletes are adjusting and brands are scrambling to evolve, there's one institution absolutely sweating bullets right now. The NCAA. Oh, they hate this. They hate everything about it. Shedeur's rise exposes a game. He didn't just make money. He made a mockery of the old system. Because remember when the NCAA tried to act like college athletes couldn't handle that kind of influence? When they said the focus should be on education, not entrepreneurship. Well, now we got a guy who is both, handling multi-million-dollar branding with more grace and professionalism than half the league's marketing departments, all while torching the fences on Saturdays. The NCAA has no control over him anymore. They can't regulate swagger. They can't find authenticity. And now every top recruit is watching, thinking the same thing. Why follow the rules when you can write your own? Meanwhile, over at Nike, You already know they're popping bottles. Because this wasn't just a financial win, it was a cultural coup. The kind of campaign that makes boardroom careers. That gets case studies written at Harvard. That makes Adidas execs wake up in cold sweats. Let's not understate it. Shedeur's line didn't do well. It redefined success. You think Nike's going back to the old playbook after this? Forget it. They're throwing the old athlete endorsement model in the shredder. You don't need 10 years in the league, 3 rings, and a movie deal anymore. You need influence. You need relevance. You need Shedeur energy. So expect the next round of athlete collabs to look very different. You'll see more signature lines with college players, more co-branded digital experiences, more athletes involved in design, not just promotion, more ownership stakes. Because the future isn't just about wearing the brand. It's about being the brand. Now let's talk culture. Because this wasn't just a sports or fashion moment. This was a global cultural flashpoint. Go on TikTok, Instagram, X, you'll find thousands of posts. Fashionistas styling the shirt like it dropped during Paris Fashion Week. International athletes unboxing their orders like it's Christmas. Teenagers reacting to the sold-out announcement like they missed tickets to the Beyoncé tour. And here's the kicker. This didn't come from a marketing budget. It came from connection. Every time Shedeur posts, every time he drops a behind-the-scenes look, every time he cracks a joke or claps back or speaks truth, it lands. It sticks. Because it's real. And in a world desperate for realness, he's not a quarterback. He's a lifestyle. Now here's where it gets really fascinating. What does this mean for the NFL? Because let's not pretend like GMs and execs aren't watching. Every front office in the league just got a masterclass in what matters now. Stats? Still important, obviously. But if you think teams aren't factoring in media reach, merch power, and culture building into their draft decisions, wake up. Because when a player can deliver both wins and $1 billion brand, that's not a prospect. That's the future of your franchise. So now Shedeur enters the league not as a question mark, but as a force of nature. He walks into that rookie season with more cultural capital than most veteran QBs. He's already got a global fan base, a business infrastructure, media leverage, the it factor, and that's before he's thrown a single NFL touchdown. You think Jerry Jones isn't watching this like a hawk? You think team owners with aging fan bases aren't salivating at the idea of relevance? Because Shedeur isn't just bringing talent. He's bringing a generation with him. And the implications? Oh, they're huge. This reshapes how athletes prepare. This changes how teams recruit. This redefines how the entire sports economy works. And most of all, this proves, without a doubt, that authenticity is the new currency. Forget safe, sanitized spokespeople. The public wants truth, style, substance, swagger. They want someone who lives a dream, not just sells it. They want Shedeur Sanders. So let's land this plane. Where does this all go? The answer? Wherever Shedeur wants it to. He's not just in the game. He's leading it. And everyone else? They're scrambling to keep up. So if you missed out on the shirt, don't worry. You didn't just miss a drop, you miss a signal. That something big is happening. That the old rules are dead. That the new wave is here. And it's not wearing a suit and tie. It's wearing a Nike tee, a gold chain, and the confidence of someone who already knows. This isn't just history. This is the beginning. Shedeur Sanders isn't just the future. He's right now. He's the moment. He's the blueprint, the proof of concept. The one the sports industry thought couldn't exist. And now that he does, the old guard is in full panic mode. Because their model is collapsing. Gone are the days when brands waited for an athlete to prove themselves with 10 years in the league, 3 MVPs, and an obligatory Gatorade commercial. Nah, this is new school. This is about impact on site. And if your brand still thinks it's operating in 2010, let me catch you up. Athletes aren't waiting around for your marketing team anymore. They're building their own brands. They're hiring designers, videographers, content editors. They're launching limited drops and selling out in hours. They're doing what brands used to do, better, faster, and with more soul. And Shedeur, he just led the charge. He cracked the code. And now, Everyone else is running to keep up. Let's really paint this picture. Picture a Nike boardroom the morning after launch. Big table, bigger egos, everyone with their Starbucks cups, phones buzzing, trying not to freak out while simultaneously texting fire, fire, fire to everyone they know. But there's no need for hype. The numbers are doing the talking. $70 million in 24 hours. 6.4 M social media impressions in 48 hours. Secondary market, flipping the shirt at 300% markup. Global trend on X and TikTok. Fan videos of people crying because they couldn't check out in time. This isn't just e-commerce. It's emotion. This is what every brand dreams of. A product that feels personal. A release that feels like an event. A moment where fans don't just buy something, they believe in it. And Shedeur didn't manufacture that. He earned it. One post, one game, one moment at a time. You know who else felt this drop? The music industry. Oh, yeah, bet. Because artists, especially Gen Z artists, know this game well. They live in this merch-first, culture-driven space. They understand that branding is about selling. It's about belonging. And what did Shedeur just prove? That athletes can do the exact same thing. And maybe even better. Because let's face it, sports fans, they're loyal. Like, emotionally invested, fight in the comments loyal. So now, we're seeing crossover. Rappers wearing the Shedeur logo on stage. TikTok creators making fan edits like they're dropping a music video. It's not just a shirt anymore, it's a signal. And everyone wants in because it represents something bigger than football. It says, I get it. I'm tapped in. I believe in this guy. And that's where this whole thing stops being about commerce and starts being about culture. But let's go even deeper. Let's talk about the shift in power. Because that's what this really is. For decades, athletes were assets, properties, names on a spreadsheet. If a brand wanted to work with you, you played nice, followed the script, signed a dotted line, and hoped your royalty check didn't bounce. Now, the power dynamic has flipped. Because when Shedeur dropped that shirt, Nike didn't own the moment. He did. He dictated the tone. He dictated the drop. His Instagram told people when to show up. His TikTok said when to refresh the page. His voice, his vibe, was the brand strategy. Nike was just smart enough to ride the wave. And that's where other companies are shook. Because they're still trying to control the narrative when the real magic happens when you partner with a narrative. Shedeur doesn't need someone to build his brand. He is the brand. And the more companies realize that, the more we're going to see athletes call the shots in boardrooms. Not just about colorways. About equity. About creative control. About ownership. Because why sell out a logo for a few million when you are the logo? Now let's check in on some of the chaos this launch caused. 1. Resale markets. People flipped $45 shirts for $180. Instantly. Some even fake listings just ride the SEO wave. Resellers never move like that unless the hype is real. 2. Campus economics. Colleges around the country saw local retailers triple traffic. Independent shops got backordered. Local screen printers were getting calls asking, can you make something kind of like the Shedeur one? 3. Influencer scramble. Influencers who ignored college football, now begging for collaborations. TikTok creators, stacking views off reaction videos to the drop. YouTube's flooded with haul vids. Everyone wants a slice, even if it's just to talk about it. 4. Brand panic. Adidas went into full PR lockdown. Under Armour held emergency marketing calls. Puma is probably still refreshing their pitch deck, hoping someone at Team Sanders picks up the phone. So now let's talk legacy. Because here's the thing. Shedeur Sanders just entered the chat alongside the greats, not on stats, but on impact. And don't roll your eyes. Yes, the stats will come. They already are. The kid can ball. But we're talking brand building. Cultural staying power. And if Jordan had sneakers, and LeBron had commercials, then Shedeur, he's got moments. He's got movements. He's making history in real time. And the cameras aren't even catching all of it yet. You know what that means? We're still in Chapter 1. And you better believe Chapter 2 is already loading. So where does this go next? Oh, it's already happening. collaborations with fashion designers, pop-up stores with surprise drops, a Netflix docu-series, already rumored, streaming content, produced in-house, owning his own narrative, athlete incubators, mentoring the next wave of nil kids, equity plays. This isn't about t-shirts anymore. This is vertical integration. He's building an empire brick by brick, not waiting for league approval, not asking for legacy handouts. He's making the kind of moves that say, I'm not just here to play football. I'm here to change the game. All of it. And the best part? He's just getting warmed up. So if you're still thinking, it's just a shirt, nah, you missed it. This was the shot heard round the world. This was a Jordan 1 moment of a new era. This was a line in the sand between before Shedeur and after Shedeur. And after? After is where everything changes. Because now every young athlete out there knows the truth. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to play quiet. You don't need to shrink yourself to fit the system. You can build your own, and you can break the system doing it. So to Shedeur we say, keep going, keep building, keep flipping the table. Because whether the league likes it or not, this isn't just about merch. It's about momentum. And it's all moving your way. The aftermath of a $70 million lightning strike, with smoke still rising off the servers and sweat still dripping from every brand exec in North America. And what's Shedeur Sanders doing? He's chilling, calm, confident, probably scrolling Instagram in a hoodie with his logo on it, while the rest of the industry unravels. Because for him, this wasn't the peak. It was proof that his name, his story, his style, his presence isn't just relevant. It's essential, and not just to sports, to culture, to the future. Because here's the wildest truth of all. This wasn't about football. Not really. This was about identity, ownership, power. Shedeur showed every athlete watching that you can be in control of your own narrative. You can skip the waiting room. You don't need to beg for branding. You can be the brand. He didn't get lucky. He architected this. Through consistency, through transparency, through that rare, almost impossible mix of discipline and swag that makes people say, yeah, I trust this guy. And now, he owns a runway, the media cycle, the cultural conversation. People are still writing think pieces, still trying to wrap their heads around how a shirt triggered a full-blown industry reset. But the people who really get it, they're not thinking about the shirt. They're thinking about what's next. Because if a t-shirt can do $70 million in a day, if one college-born brand can move like Louis Vuitton in the resale market, what happens when Shedeur drops a sneaker? A fragrance? A media platform? What happens when he launches a foundation or a full clothing line or his own athlete incubator? He's not a trend. He's a force. And now that he's lit the match, the fuse is burning fast. So here's the only question left. Are you watching from the sidelines? Or are you part of the wave? Because this isn't a one-time viral spike. It's the dawn of the Sanders era. And whether you're a fan, a skeptic, a rival, or a brand exec hoping for a second meeting, you're already in it.